Hello and welcome back to the mothership. I'm, of course, the HMFIC, Lack Sivrak. Thank you for joining me again for the episode 6 review of The Acolyte. The editing of this show is atrocious, and I found myself again. This was one of those episodes. All in all, the episode wasn't bad, but it's still, what made it not bad was the anticipation of what you knew the payoff was, which yet again did not come in this episode. So, this episode is brought to you by Copenhagen Snuff with the new 4th of July commemorative lid, and also my nightly cup of plain hot water. So, this show would have benefited by being a, two or three part miniseries, or just releasing them all at once. I say that, but, or even being a short film by itself. With that being said, with a good editor, episode 3 would have never existed. Because it just didn't explain anything that we didn't already was told, right? And that's one of my biggest complaints about. That's really my big complaint about that episode. But as far as episode 6, it was just tickling, it was just fondling and edging you until the part that you really wanted, which you didn't see. So, it's just, that to me is one of the biggest fuck yous of this show. The idea and the dialogue and just everything, if they would have made this into a film, it'd be a pretty short film. And if they would have dropped it all at once, I say it would have benefited by being dropped all at once, but if they dropped it all at once as it stands, there would have been some weird issues with it. As far as being explained, mostly being explained for 2 episodes multiple times, May and the official Jedi idea of what happened with the witches, and then showing us that exact same thing for 45 minutes. That was ridiculous. This episode was missing a solid 10-15 minutes of being complete. Like I said, it's just one giant edging, and not a good one. Not a good one. So, I was excited and anticipating this entire show. It was interesting. Kamir, the guy playing Kamir is obviously a fairly good actor. Now, I don't know if he's a good actor in the realm of actors all around the world, but he looks like fucking Marlon Brando, and compared to, and same with Saul. Those guys look like Marlon fucking Brando and Gregory Peck compared to the shit fest that the rest of these fucking actors and actresses are taking part in, The CGI when OSHA wakes up, God, I'm so sick of that. I don't know how many times we have to fucking see that, but I don't know. That's a very shallow person's idea of a deep thing, and maybe it will come to fruition that it does mean something deeper. But as far as right now, it's just getting annoying. It's not quite as annoying as the overuse of the word seriously in Rogue One and Andor, and Andor is my favorite show, but I could live the rest of my life without anybody in Star Wars ever looking at the camera and go, seriously? Seriously? I fucking hate that. We're fresh off of a almost 3-hour stream with Ed, and we talked about every Star Wars that was ever made, so I'm still mulling around some of those other Star Wars shows and films in my head too, but I digress. When OSHA wakes up in the cave and she walks out onto the balcony, the island that she's sitting on the island that she's on looks to be a real thing. The porch that she comes out on is the worst pixelated piece of shit CGI that I can fucking remember. Like, it's bad. It's super bad. The two islands, when they pull back and there's two more islands, those look like shit too. Before she walks out on that porch, when she wakes up and there's the little pterodactyl mouse, that was... I don't even understand why those are in the show, except for maybe they're... I mean, I don't know, man. Are you gonna, like, try to sell people those? Or those... I mean, like, they're just like, hey, remember porgs? Like, we should have something like that. So, and the first one you see that's in the cave when she wakes up and it, like, scoots away like this, like, fuck, dude, that was awful. God, that was awful. And I think that might have actually been a puppet. I'm not real sure, but whatever it was garbage. And, like, it doesn't piss me off and it doesn't make me not sleep at night, but if we're critiquing production value, somebody should have seen that and went, whoa, what is this? Somebody's job used to be able to see shit like that and go, that looks like shit. So nobody's doing that on this show. Everybody on this show is going, wow, that's great, man. That's great. Because, like, hey, in today's world, you can't have criticism. You can't do anything but pat people on the back and give them a trophy and say, you tried really hard. Good job. And, like, that don't fucking fly with me, motherfuckers. My parents were both born before World War II was over, in the early mid-40s, before the war was over. And that shit don't fucking fly with motherfuckers who were raised by that generation. I can guarantee you that. So that was garbage. There's some CGI in this that's pretty fucking garbage for a $180 million fucking show. So I don't know where the money went. Like I've always said, the bulk of the budget obviously went to vegan catering and whatever, renting electric fucking scooters for the fucking people that worked on it. I don't fucking know what it went to. Because there's some, for 180 million, I would have expected more, you know? So, whatever. The other thing about the show that did bother me, and this kind of ties into, so the last two episodes we saw, right? May is walking in episode 4, May's walking through the woods with Come Here, and she says, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm gonna turn myself in, and I'm gonna tell him all about this, the master, this Sithy dude, you know? And so she's decided not to go through with the rest of her mission, and she feels like she's being used or whatever, right? But then she decides to change places with Osha to get on the ship with Saul, and we see her try to sneak up and, I mean, assumably, we assume because she's sneaking up with him with a knife behind her back that she's about to Julius Caesar this motherfucker. So what's the deal with that? I thought she just decided that she wasn't gonna do that. Like literally, because episodes are so short, like literally fucking 18 minutes before, she was gonna turn on the evil master. And so, but now she's changed places with Osha, and she's getting in the ship, and she's pretending to be Osha, right? And it's May, and she's gonna sneak up on Saul and kill him. So, what happened? What happened there? You know, I don't understand. The road doesn't fucking track. That doesn't track. Where's the change of heart twice now? So I'm not into that. The biggest problem that I have besides that's kind of fucking crazy. May's like, I'm gonna turn myself in and I'm gonna narc on this fucking dude with the bullshit dude, everybody's out there like, man, that guy's helmet's so cool. I'm like, motherfucker, that guy's helmet is lame as fuck. It looks fucking, this will be really cool and scary. Like, whoever invented that is not cool and doesn't know what fucking scary is. You want to know a cool, scary helmet? Vader's fucking helmet. You want to know another one? There's a fucking scary motherfucking helmet. If y'all remember this fucking guy. This is an original from 80 whatever, by the way. I had that since I was a young man. But just like, dude, not scary, not cool. Kamir also says, he says, it's a sensory deprivation helmet. But when OSHA puts it on at the end, there's plainly 2 fucking slits where light's coming in. And like, that's not sensory deprivation. It's not at all. So that's, the people writing it, I guess, the prop people and the writers wasn't listening, because I expected it, I can't see anything with the blast shield down, but no, this guy's blast shield has 2 little slits, and like, they made the vision through it blurry, so I guess, it has something in front of it, but like, why? That makes no sense. There's light plainly coming through the 2 eye slits, and it's not sensory deprivation, so kind of dumb. It just doesn't track. That fucking dog don't hunt, so whatever. The biggest issue I have, as somebody who does have children, and I know that a lot of people, like, there's a lot of other issues, whatever, wokeism. I don't even know if wokeism is a word, but the idea of the woke agenda or LGBTQT, and, the calling the beaver otter guy they or it or what, they was, it was kind of lame. Like, and I'm not even saying that from like an anti whatever. I'm just saying, like, why? What was that? What was that move? I don't even know. And then I was told, I have not seen this, but I was told that the director was saying, well, that was supposed to be a joke. And like, so are you supporting the LGBTQ whatever industry, or are you making a joke of it? Right? Like, if that was your one push to inject those idealisms, but then you came back and you said, well, it was supposed to just be a kind of a funny joke. I'm like, well, what the fuck? What is that? Like, that sounds like you're a two-faced fucking prick. Obviously is what it sounds like, but all that aside, like, my kids aren't into watching this anyway, because it's boring. My kids aren't going to watch this. It's boring. They'll watch a fucking good shoot-'em-up John Wayne movie. They'll watch fucking Batman the Animated Series from the 90s, because there's action and there's shit going on. But the biggest problem I have with this is the trying to make what we all know, and like, maybe this is the underlying propaganda that you should be worried about if you are, true to being a real motherfucker, whatever your political agenda is, or all that aside. Like, you're either a real motherfucker or you're a fake motherfucker, right? But the biggest problem I have with the show in this episode is and I saw it coming, obviously, but the idea that Kamir can justify him doing what he is, and like, that's what he's trying to tell May, right? Like, he says, well, it's just semantics, it's okay if I do it, and like, rules for you, but not for, what is that? Rules for thee, but not for me. And like, that's where this is fucking going. That's where this is going. If you can do evil, nasty shit that deep down is fucking wrong, and you have to spend a lot of time justifying it, and, telling yourself, well, it's okay if I do it, then like, you might be a fucking piece of shit. You might be a fucking two-faced fucking piece of shit. And like, that's my biggest problem with the show is, they're like, well, it's evil and it's bad and we all know it's wrong, but it's okay because it makes you feel okay. And like, motherfucker, that's treading on the fucking dangerous side for me. That would be one of the fucking reasons I don't show my kids this. There's right and there's fucking wrong. And, maybe I grew up on too many John Wayne movies and grew up in the fucking wilderness of Alaska where there was fucking shit to do, and there was fucking shit you knew was fucking wrong. And I grew up in a place where like bad shit fucking happened. And good people took a fucking stand against it, including myself. And there were things that you fucking did for your family and your community and your fucking tribe. And if you went against that and you didn't participate in those things, then you were a fucking piece of shit. Like, whatever, man. My first words as a kid was from a John Wayne movie. And so, like, this fucking shit, trying to make the bad guy good and justifying his fucking shit and saying, well, you know, it's just semantics and it's really just what, you know, what these one people say. And I'm like, that ain't how it fucking works, bro. That ain't how it fucking works. So that pisses me the fuck off. Again, does it piss me off where I'm gonna like lose sleep at night or whatever? But like, no, probably not. And like, my kids aren't gonna watch this boring ass fucking shit anyway, so I'm not really concerned about it. But like, you know, you don't want people fucking justifying evil. That is a problem. That is a fucking problem. And so to me, that is the real propaganda that's being pushed in this fucking show. And it's mostly done it in this episode, but you can see the whole time, you know, the Jedi are bad and these other people are fucking good. And, you know, the prequel trilogy, a lot of people didn't see it, and especially the beliefs of Count Dooku, but like, that was kind of the point of that fucking series of fucking movies too, right? Like, who is the fucking bad guy? The Confederation of Systems was only fighting for a free galaxy, a free and independent galaxy, right? And like, that's what the rebels were fucking fighting for, right? And everybody was fighting the government, but everybody decided that the Emperor and the Stormtroopers were evil, but the Republic is good. But, you know, whatever, one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. Like, that was kind of the overwhelming idea of the fucking prequels, if you wanted to look at it in a fucking adult way. And you could decide what you wanted, but it showed that this Acolyte episode 6 is plainly trying to justify evil and shit-faced fucking actions, and that don't fly with fucking General Axivrak motherfuckers. So anyway, I was interested in the entire 20 fucking minutes. No, I think it was 32 minutes before the credits, minus like a minute 37 seconds for the recap and all that. But still, like, motherfucker, you wait all week for fucking 30 minutes of fucking, man. So this show is poorly written. The show is poorly acted. The show is fairly poorly cast. It's ridiculously shittily fucking edited. This episode by itself, in a I don't know, man. I mean, I guess you could give it a 5, you know. Some of the other episodes I gave a higher ranking to, but the excitement, like the first episode, like, there was a lot of shit going on. There was a cool fight scene, and it was all new and fresh. So the anticipation of what could happen, you know, was giving it a little higher of a score. This one, like, you've done that to me once, right? You've done that to me twice, really, right? Shame on you, shame on me. But so this one, I was anticipating the cool shit the entire time, and you didn't get it. And that's starting to fucking piss me off, you know? Like, there's a lot of filler bullshit in this fucking show. If it was a fucking 2-hour movie and you watched it all at once, you might could justify that. But this fucking 8-week dragged out fucking horseshit is starting to fucking irk me. And it's not for the political reasons and it's not for the woke reasons, but like, cinematically, this is starting to get a little bit of fucking lame. And I'm sitting here, you know, poised with my fucking knees on my elbows on my fucking knees, and I'm like, oh, it's happening. This is it. And it doesn't happen. It doesn't fucking happen. So that shit is getting fucking old to me. We only have 2 episodes left. If Ki-Adi-Mundi says that the Sith has been extinct for a millennium, then that means everybody who must think that this guy is a Sith, which is Saul right now, the green chick, the one guy said, oh, Saul must have done this. Pretty sure the green chick doesn't think that, but it would be, if Saul dies, it will be convenient for her because her whole thing is covering shit up. It will be convenient for her to say, well, Saul killed all those fucking Jedi, and he's dead now, and there's nobody to tell the story. So that would be convenient. So I don't know, man. We got 2 more to go. I will be living with Ed probably remotely, if I can, next week. So y'all check out Rebels, Reptiles, and Games channel. Also Brett at Cool to Know. Great guys. We've been doing lives every episode so far, and it's been fun. So anyway, I don't know what else to say. I was anticipating good shit, and it didn't happen. The guy playing Saul is a good actor. The guy playing Kamir seems to be a good actor. But this episode was just fucking, dude, it was a fucking big fucking edge fest. It was not, and with no fucking money shot. So I'm getting kind of fucking tired of that. I feel like I'm getting jerked around. You know what I mean? I'm getting fucking jerked around here. And I'm starting to not like it for those reasons. So anyway, I have been General Lax Sivrak. I will continue to be as always. Thank you for joining me on the episode 6 review of the Acolyte. We will do a 7 and an 8. We will probably do a 9th episode of just recapping the whole thing. And stay tuned. We have some unboxing videos to do. We have a couple customs to show. We got a new Power of the Force 2 ship in to do a custom paint job with. So stay with the channel. Remember to hit the like button, like, share, and subscribe. And join me for some more sex droids and lack and roll, baby. I appreciate everybody. So leave a comment in the bottom. What did you think of episode 6? What do you think of the whole series so far? And why is Andor continuously the best fucking thing that Disney's done? Am I right? The Luthen show. That's where it's at. Bring on Andor season fucking 2. Tony Gilroy for the fucking win. Anyway. Thank you for joining me. I've been General Lax Sivrak. And as always, I will see you on down the trail.